Today interviewing Ray Haffenden. Good morning, Ray. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you.
Now, you're from the South Island, Ray, correct?
The mainland,
The
yes.
mainland. So, where did your interest in rugby league come from?
From an uncle of mine who started me off with my cousin. I think I was about 8 or 9, I can't remember how long, and he was a member of the Linwood Club, and I started with Linwood then, and I finished. I'm still there, mentally, but...
Yep. And I understand you played in 2 premiership winning teams in 1968 and 1970.
Yes, 3 grand finals, won 2 of them.
And of course you played for your beloved Canterbury.
I did.
How many games did you play for
Can't
them?
remember, I'm sorry, and they didn't keep good records, so
No, I can tell you that you played 4 games for Canterbury and you represented the South Island against Great Britain in 1974. Does that bring back memories?
Absolutely.
Would you like to expand on those a little bit?
What, the games for Canterbury are
Yeah.
they were few and far between, so I think my first game was against the Queensland Country, and pretty good side, beat us, I'm sure. Canterbury games, can't remember much about them, played fullback and wing. And was something else you mentioned there, the South Island game, yeah, that was played in Greymouth on Wingham Park. I can remember Roger Millwood, who's since passed on, standing at halfway with us, and I remember looking down at this bloke and sort of having a bit of a giggle to myself because he had long shorts and long socks, and I thought, well, what have we got here? But when you saw him move around the park, totally different story. John Bevan, who was the ex-rugby player, played on the wing, and there was a couple of other guys, a guy Colin Dixon, who was pretty ferocious sort of a player, so good experience. Got beaten, of course, but yeah, loved it.
Yeah, Colin Dixon, of course, was a Welsh Negro.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Really, really hard player from Wales.
Correct.
As you would expect. Now, after your playing career finished, I understand you then got into coaching. Is that correct?
Correct. I coached my club, and then I got into the juniors, and I coached I think it was under the 17 team, and that was sort of start of it. Then I got Canterbury B for a number of years. We went unbeaten, which was good, and then I got the Canterbury A team, and I had them for a year, and then I got the sack, and somebody else took over the job due to some politics, and I got them back after that, and I had them for another 5 years, and I also coached the South Island at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if you're aware of the statistics, but you had 20 wins and 4 draws with Canterbury, and of course during that time you also coached the South Island, as we've discussed. In 1989 and 1990 you then coached the junior Kiwis.
Correct.
Okay.
Probably the highlight, sounds awful, but probably one of the highlights of my life was taking the junior Kiwis to New Guinea.
Yeah.
A team that never got the credit that it was due because they played under real difficult circumstances, and the thing I'm most proud about was that a lot of those boys went on and became Kiwis, namely Stephen Kearney, Jared McCracken, Sean Hoppy, Fetu Taiwa, Simon Angel, and I'm sure I've forgotten a couple as well. Hitra Okasini was in that side.
Oh, yes.
And it was a really, really exciting trip for us. Probably not so exciting for the players because they were billeted. But we won every game, and that was... and another person I forgot was Blair Harding, who played fullback, who later died.
Now, just quite interesting, in 1990 and 1991, you managed the Kiwis, and the Kiwi coach was Bob Bailey, and part of the story is that you and Bob had both applied for the coaching job. Bob got the coaching job and you became his manager.
Correct. Yes. And we got on like a house on fire. I never interfered with his coaching, and he certainly didn't interfere with my managing, and we're still friends today.
And of course, you continued to manage the Kiwis under your old friend
Frank Endicott. Happy Frank.
Happy Frank. So you had some pretty happy times then in your coaching career?
I loved it. I loved coaching. Yep, and managing.
And then, of course, once you finished your playing and your coaching career, you then turned to the administration of the game, and you were voted on to the New Zealand Rugby League Board in 1992 until 1995. Do you have any memories about that?
Yeah, Trevor Maxwell was my first chairman, and we became lifetime friends, I think, from there. But he was extremely good. He was very authoritative, I guess is the word. And then we had Mr. Carden, and he did a good job in lots of different areas, but was not a bad sort of bloke socially. We had Michael Knowles was our general manager in those days, I think we called him, and he held the ship together. There was only, I think, 3 permanent rugby league people in the office and 1 part-timer. And in 1 year we played a series of test matches. We played PNG, Australia and England, I think, in the same year, with 3 administrators. Pretty awesome. And in those days you only had 1 manager, the Kiwis. In Frank's time we had 2. So there's a big difference to what is surrounding the Kiwis now than what there was then.
So your sojourn from 92 to 95, you then served on the judiciary for the Bartercard Cup for some years.
Yeah, I did, yeah, as many others did, including yourself.
Correct, yeah. And you're also a life member, of course, of your beloved Linwood Kiwis. Well,
I always say to people, you can take a boy out of Canterbury, but you can't take Canterbury out of the boy, and I take it one stage further and say you can take a boy out of Linwood, but you can't take Linwood out of the boy.
now we come to a part of your career which you probably have thought about many times. You were elected back into the board, then you took over as chairman in 2007, and that really was a time of turmoil when you oversaw a Spark review. What are your memories of that particular period, of how the game was administrated in New Zealand?
It was brought about because the board made a loss of $2 million, shall we say, from the English tour. The chairman resigned, but more importantly, 3 of our independent directors resigned on the same day, which left us 4 short. And I was voted on that day. And it would be the most hectic 6 months of my life. That it was just, we got bashed from everywhere we went. We got all our funding was stopped by Sport New Zealand. We had to reappoint 3 directors. It was extremely difficult times for New Zealand Rugby League. The saviour of the whole thing was a gentleman called Colin Love. Colin Love and Trevor Maxwell, actually. Colin Love was the chairman of the Australian Rugby League. And he phoned me one day, and I picked up the phone, and this man said, "It's Colin Love." Well, he was like God to me at the time. And he said, the words he used to me, I'll never forget, he said, "Tell me you're not a bad sort of a bloke. How can we help you?" And I said, "We need some money." He said, "We'll be over to see you very soon." So Colin Love and Jeff Carr came to New Zealand. Peter Courts, Trevor Maxwell and myself met with them. We had a really nice time, and I fortunately knew some of the friends of Jeff Carr who played league in his era in Australia, which he didn't believe I knew them, but I did. So we got a good base. Colin gave us some money that was due to come to us in the next test match, and that put us back on track. We reformed the board, and the board members worked extremely hard, and then we had the review, which was through no fault of my own. It was by somebody else asked to have the review. Went through the review, which again was a tough process, and came out the other side as vice chairman of the board. Tough times, yeah, very tough. But we got back into the black.
Yeah, they were tough times, but you're right. We're back in the black, and yeah, we're going well at the moment. All I can say is the last game we played, we won.
True.
So, in terms of your career, I mean, I'm very impressed that in the 2017 Queen's Birthday Honours, you were appointed a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit for your services to rugby league. How did you feel when you knew not only you were being nominated, but you'd actually been awarded the Order of Merit?
Well, the fair thing about that is that it's really a tribute to your family. If you didn't have the support of the people around you, you would never be able to do the things that we did. You know, we were, at times when we did our coaching schools, we would take 3 weekends prior to Christmas, which were 3 long weekends, and 3 after Christmas. So you were 6 weekends and time off from family and travelling, and South Island coaching director, so travelled all around the country, managed the Kiwis, etc. To me, that award is for the family, and it always will be, but very special.
Okay, that's been very, very interesting and illuminating today, Ray. Is there anything you'd like to add before we conclude the interview?
Well, sport's about people, and fortunately when you travel, you meet a lot of people and you make a lot of friends, and you work hard. You know, people like Bob Hall, who I used to work with, Lois Stubbing, some of those early guys that we did put the coaching schools together, and we had the elite camps. They were good times, and to watch the kids progressing through, particularly the ones that moved on into the Kiwis, Tony Kemps of the world and people like that, who came to our original camps and learn a lot of skills of the game. I believe I'm a skills coach, and I believe we have to, even now, we have to go back and focus on the skills of our game, because the world is becoming very health conscious. And if you don't know how to tackle properly, and people don't, they're going to get hurt. If you don't learn other skills in the game of evasion skills, you're going to get hurt. So I think, leading on, I would still like to lead the charge towards skills of the game, if somebody would give me the opportunity.
There's a couple of things I haven't mentioned, and it would be remiss of me not to. You're a member of the New Zealand Rugby League Museum Society.
Yes. And
at the moment you're also chairman of the Kiwis Association.
Correct.
Which keeps you back interested in the game and catching up with your old mates over the years. And you have one reunion once a year where there's a large number of Kiwis turn up and tell tall stories.
Well, we work on the old Kaizen theory, that continual improvement, and we're continually improving the Kiwis Association, and we may extend out further than one meeting a year. We may be able to use some of those Kiwis in the game, because I think we lose them. We don't give them a job. We need to get them back in.
I agree.
And we need to look after the Kiwis that are coming back into the country. We need to identify them, as New Zealand Rugby League have done with a number of the players that have come back. So there's a good future out there, and we need to look after the Women's Rugby League, and we need to look after the, impaired people as well.
So, thank you, Ray, for that. That's been very illuminating, and I'm sure that our viewing audience, when they see it, will be most impressed with Ray Haffenden, MNZM.
Thank you
very much, Ray.
Thank you very much.